Oh, wait. I forgot. I should probably do this too.
Recording in progress.
That's the one thing I forgot before I started. All right, now we're starting it. And we are live with another episode of the Andor Aftershow. We're talking about episode 10 of Andor, the new Star Wars Disney Plus show that went live, earlier tonight? Or earlier in the morning? Whatever you want to call it. We're here on a Wednesday night here to talk about episode 10 of Andor. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera. We also got co-host Sara Zitney, a.k.a. Miss Marauder.
Hello.
Sarah, how's it going?
Going good.
Do you have a catchphrase at this point?
I no, but I think it's gonna be now that I can do a green screen because my hair's not green. I'm gonna make a meme of the Simpsons in the movie where Bart goes, "This is the worst day of my life," and then Homer goes, "The worst day of your life so far." But I'm gonna make it, "This is the best episode of Andor, the best episode of Andor so far," because I think that's my.
Is your hair gray? Is that what it is?
No, it's blonde-ish, depending on the. I'm doing a cosplay of a character that has short blonde hair, and I do not know how to style a short wig, so I just dyed my hair blonde.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that for LA Comic-Con?
No, it's for Anime Expo Chibi.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Coming up this weekend, so
yeah,
I'll be there Friday and Sunday.
There's a lot of cons around here.
Yeah, and then so it's Anime Expo Chibi this weekend, then Anime Pasadena next weekend, then Thanksgiving, then LA Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So very busy month.
Yeah, I didn't get okayed for press badges this year for LA Comic-Con. I got an email. So for anyone out there who is watching this live, you're watching this on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show, or you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from. But, you know, you may be a fan of listening to this show, but I guess LA Comic-Con is not. So their loss. Their loss. Just like every other episode, we got a new guest today because every guest up until this point, they don't even last, they last one episode and then we got to fire them, you know? So that's why we got a new guest today, a new hire. We got Cassiana Pozzi. Is it Pozzi?
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool. Last time I had you on the show, it wasn't for Andor, obviously, but it was Instagram live chat, and we chatted a little bit. And you're a big fan of Star Wars.
Oh, absolutely, I am. And an even bigger fan of Cassian Andor, so.
Is it because of the name?
I just love that man very much.
What if he was just a horrible character? He was just, boring. And it was
then it would be really disappointing, but thank God he's an amazing character with now an incredible show, so it works out great for me.
I think I could safely say it's my favorite show. It's my favorite show of the year.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one for sure.
We're 10 episodes in. I think I'm saying, yeah, was I a fan of all the other Star Wars shows? Yes. But also, Andor has left me, every time the episode ends, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do for the next week because I need to, I need these episodes to come out and I have to wait a week in between them.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time that I really was anticipating a show every single week. I literally find myself almost tweeting every single week. I miss Cassie and I need a new episode right now. And it's been a while since I felt that. And not only is it a TV show that I feel that, but it's also Star Wars. So it just gets me more excited again, which is awesome.
Which is nice. It's a real big win when your favorite property or franchise does a really good thing. And if you're a Star Wars fan and you're oh shit, yeah, Andor is really fucking good. That's a great thing. But then when you're a DC fan like me and it's Black Adam was a movie. Cool.
You're I watched it. I didn't actively hate every moment of it.
I'm glad that I didn't. Yeah,
well,
I didn't leave.
Yeah.
I was,
My thing is, do you remember things about it? Because that's always been my gripe. I'm probably not the world's biggest, but one of the biggest Batman vs Superman haters because I watched it and I was I don't remember a single. 10 minutes out the movie theater, I was what just happened? I have no idea what I could not describe a single detail of what happened.
Yeah. You know what's bad about the bad movies nowadays? It's kind of funny.
They're really long.
They're long, but it's that they do have some good moments. Like even Batman vs Superman, which is my least favorite DC movie, has good moments. But then because of those good moments, if you really pinpoint those good moments, then you're like, yeah, I liked it. But
I remember thinking everything cool that happened in a dream sequence.
Oh.
I was like, there was a couple cool scenes and they all ended up being dreams.
That's life. Sometimes the coolest, like when you wake up in the morning, you're like, send me back. Please.
Not me. I had a couple stress dreams about trying to get San Diego Comic-Con tickets. And then they came true.
Oh no.
Yeah, same.
Did you try to get San Diego Comic-Con tickets, Cassiana?
I did.
Did not work out?
Woke up. No. Oh. God, no. It was terrible because I got in and like, I guess I just didn't understand the process. I've bought so many comic convention tickets in the past. I've been to so many. Yeah. I did not know about the whole registration factor of it. I thought I was registered. I thought my boyfriend was also registered. Go to buy tickets. Nothing is found. I've never gotten an email from San Diego Comic-Con in my life, apparently.
Yeah.
And I was let in. Yeah, I was let in and then I registered and then it kicked me back out. I had to get back in line. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm registered, but I can't get tickets because now they are all sold out.
I was on for about 4 hours in returning registration. Never even got close for a ticket. And then I was on the purchase screen when the tickets sold out.
Oof.
It was truly, I was like, this is a first world problem for sure. But it was real devastating. I was like, I would have rather not gotten close than be the next person in line for tickets as the ticket. It was tragic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get to talking about Andor, but I also want to talk about ticket buying. Taylor Swift announced her concert tickets, and then you have to like register, like wait in line and register, and then pick your like priority locations, like in a priority, and then
it's like ranked voting.
I think you get like first and second pick, and so like I did it, and tickets go on sale technically like in a week, but like they will tell you if you're able to buy tickets or not with your priority and whatever. And Capital One card users get like pre-sale tickets. So
my mom got an email and she's like, do you want to go to Taylor Swift? I'm like, I wish I was more of a fan. I bet people are like dying over this pre-sale.
We need to go.
Give people your mom's phone number.
Let your mom be other people's moms. That's how it works. Loan your mom out.
Buy the tickets and just like, I don't know, resell them, charter people out. Like,
yeah. But yeah, ticket buying sucks. That being said, what is free is watching Andor on Disney Plus. We don't have to stay in line and buy tickets. Do you guys watch Cassiana? Do you watch Andor when it like right when it drops? Because I know that I don't remember what time zone you're in, but like it drops at midnight Pacific.
I am in Central Time, so that means when an episode drops, it is 2 a.m. here. There have been some times where I'm so excited for an episode, I will stay up. But there's been some times where it's like, I need some sleep. I'll just wake up early in the morning, watch the episode. And today was terrible because I woke up late. I had to go run and do a ton of errands. And then by the time I got home to actually watch the episode, it was 4 o'clock and everybody was tweeting about it. And I've never waited so long to watch an Andor episode. And I'm really sad that this was the episode that I waited so long to watch during the day. But otherwise, I usually do watch it at the drop.
Did things get spoiled for you?
Not necessarily, no. I think just somebody was in my mentions that like mentioned something about can't swim. And I was like, wait, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about?
I tried not to like say spoilers for it because I'm like, I want to be able to talk about it. So like I tweeted, I was like, there's 3 words that killed me. It killed me. I can't. It's
Yeah, I accidentally posted a video that had like a spoiler, one of Evie's videos, and I thought that it was one of those things that everybody knew. And then people really started yelling at me, and I was like, I'm
Wait,
sorry.
What was it?
With My Hero Academia. I was like, this is how you find out. But at least there's a cute child and the video's adorable. But I was like, when I was Googling for character costume references, like when you type in the character name, like the next suggestion one is like death. Really dead, dead scene. And so I was like, I assume that everybody, it's out in the manga, which has been out for a couple months. So I made a little jokey joke about it. And there were people that were like, what does the caption mean? And I was like, sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
Didn't realize it was going to get 65,000 views. I apologize.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, spoilers are a big thing. And especially in like so in this, it's like a weekly show. And like, sometimes people take a couple days to watch it, which is fair. I feel like a couple days to watch it, like, that's fair. Like, and like for a movie, it's like a week until you can, if you can't see it in, like, the way I view spoilers is, I don't blame the person if they have a busy life. I'm just like, I don't blame them. But at the same time, if you have a busy life and you can't put time aside for it, that's okay. I don't blame you. You're not a bad person, but you can't expect other people to like not talk about it. After a week of a movie, I think like spoiler, like you got to spoil. That's what
it's free reign. You might as well.
So. I think a week is fair. Like, again,
it is.
If you can't see it until week 2, that sucks.
Speaking of talking, what an episode of Andor for talking.
What do you mean for talking?
Like the speeches, it was like,
oh my gosh, there were so many.
Speech-o-rama. It was, oh Lord.
In each one of them, I was like, I have chills again. And oh my God, chills for the third time.
I had chills rewatching it. I was like, that's how good it is. I had chills on a second watch, knowing what was happening.
Like, who's writing this stuff? They're doing some amazing job in the writer's room. Keep them going.
Yeah.
I take notes. I always take notes as I'm watching it, and I'll take notes of like quotes I particularly like. And the Luthen speech at the end, I started writing stuff down, and then I was like, nope, it's the whole speech. It's all quotes.
Transcript.
I was like, I'll just find a transcript of it later because the whole thing is like good.
It's on Reddit. Somebody wrote out the whole Luthen speech on Reddit because somebody was like, "Oh, they want to take it to auditions."
That's the first thought I had. I was like, "That's an audition speech." Yeah, for sure.
It's so good. I'm gonna look it up, but like, let's talk about this episode. We have the main storyline is the prison storyline, right? Mm-hmm. Then we have Mon Mothma dealing with whatever Davo, right? Mm-hmm. Davo's the kind of gangster kind of guy.
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of like a sleeper storyline, especially in this one. I think it's easy to be like, oh yeah, also there's a little Mon Mothma bit, but when you go back and watch that Mon Mothma bit, that was intense.
Yeah,
like, that was strange. Yeah,
it was. My friend texts me like live texts the show to me, and she was like 5 minutes ahead of me, and she was like, oh, there's some Game of Thrones stuff happening, and I was like, what does that mean? What does that mean in this context? And it was like, oh, he's trying to do an arranged marriage of 14-year-olds. I was like, okay, yeah, that's Game of Thrones stuff. I was like, that could mean so many things. I'm terrified.
Yeah. And then we have, I mean, it was barely anything other than the prison stuff, right?
Yeah, they went to Ferrix for like 3 seconds to go, Marva's not doing well. And I was like, don't do that.
But that was from the
that was it. We didn't even see her.
That was in the episode. It's back to Ferrix, Marva not doing well. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't remember that part.
It was like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
We didn't even get to see Marva. We just got someone talking to like the doctor was going over to her house.
And then they showed just like Cinta just like in the background, like watching them. Like
oh. How did I miss that? Oh, okay.
It was really, really short. It was really quickly just thrown in there.
There's a Bernie meme. Somebody made a Bernie meme, and it says, I am once again asking for you to stop leaving people who saw your face very clearly alive. And, like, Cassian, stop. And then, like, okay, so let's talk about this. This is the episode I've been waiting for, is the prison break. Cassiana, how have you felt about these episodes leading up to this, like, prison break episode?
Honestly, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just been, like, really, really great. And, like, I feel like somebody put it really well in a tweet, was just, like, Cassian completing the heist and then escaping prison. It's just, like, he is the most unlucky yet most lucky person alive at this moment. Like, I can't even describe it. And I feel like it's just, he brings that rebellion mentality with him wherever he goes. So that's been kind of like the fun part to watch, especially with this prison break, because I feel like he wouldn't have had as many men backing him. He wouldn't have had, like, Kino in this if like, he wasn't such an incredibly, like, rebellious character and such, like, a good leader. So it's been really cool to watch that for sure. But yeah,
he's definitely like never give up, never surrender, you know? Like, no matter what. Like, like, you could take Cassian and put him in a long line at the grocery store, and, like, you know what he's gonna do. He's just gonna be like, I'm sticking it through. Maybe,
he's not hopping lines when the other one starts moving. He's gonna stick with where
he's not gonna leave without getting his groceries. You know?
I feel like he's just filling out his, like, bingo card of action hero stuff, because he, like, escaped from the cops. He pulled out a heist, and now a prison break. So he's just like 3 for 3 on, like,
it's the
cool
escape,
shit.
right?
Yeah.
Then the heist, then the prison break. Shout out to Aries13 out there in our chat on Twitch, and shout out to Mr. Plow. Though Mr. Plow just said, But Aries13 says writing is so good on the show, and also Miss Marauder has a name.
I do.
So glad that Andy Serkis got a chance for redemption after Snoke. Andy Serkis, it hurts. It hurts. Like, and then Aries put the monologue, and then says Marva refuses to take her meds now, and there's an undercover ISB spy also watching Marva. And then you can see through lines from the writers of the Bourne series to the show. It just feels cool to have that gritty style within a Star Wars universe. Yeah, I mean, it's a gritty style, but it's not only, like, the gritty style, right? There's something about this show that is, like, I don't know, the multiple storylines, and, like, we didn't see Cyril in this episode, right?
Thank God. I think
everyone
needed an episode to cool off on him from how badly we all wanted to see him die.
Yeah.
Last episode, it was like, let's give us a minute to cool on Cyril. But I was thinking, which is something that I just connected in my brain right now, is we're seeing Cassian essentially leading bigger and bigger groups of people, right? So at first he was escaping himself, right? Mm-hmm. And then he was helping, like, the 6 other people do the heist. And now he just led a prison break for thousands of prisoners. So this idea that he's kind of, like, blossoming into this, like, rebel leader he's going to be, as he just keeps, like, genuinely, like, inspiring and leading more and more people as he goes. Mm-hmm. And that first thing that he says when he's trying to get Kino kind of on board, saying all the stuff that Kino says again, the I'd rather die trying to take them down than die giving them what they want, is so good. And it's that thing of, like, that's so Cassian, right? Like, it's one of those things, it's, like, hard to describe, but that's who Cassian is. That's like real Cassian line.
Till the end.
Of course he would say that.
He's dying doing the right thing, right?
He's been through just so many just life-threatening situations where he's like, if this is it, then, like, I'm gonna go through with it because it's a great cause behind it. Like, every single time he literally puts his heart into it, like, literally thinking, you know, I might die this time, but I, like, believe in what I'm doing, or at least I know I'm doing, like, the right thing in, like, an assertive way.
At least he's dying for something, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a fear. You die unexpectedly. You die just, like, a refrigerator falls out of a 2nd story, like, balcony, and then you die. I don't know.
And I feel
a
like
piano falls.
It's dying for, like, being willing to die for something, but also not being willing to live for something he's not willing to live for. So this idea of he's not necessarily orchestrating the prison break for the rebellion. He's doing it because we're not going to be a cog in this machine anymore. And if I have to die, I would rather be dead than do this anymore.
Yeah.
Because there's no hope. I'm just going to do this until I die. So I might as well die trying to escape.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
Is he your favorite? Is he your favorite over Din?
No.
Is Din your favorite over Cassian?
Like my favorite Star Wars character or like husband?
You tell me.
Like,
you tell me.
It's hard to say. I think Din is still my number one. So my problem now with saying Andor is my favorite Star Wars series is I already have a Mandalorian tattoo. So now if I say that Andor is my favorite, I have to get an Andor tattoo.
I mean, what's the symbol? It's
yeah, the symbol's cool. But I follow a tattoo artist that does really cool Star Wars tattoos, and she's done a couple K2SO tattoos. So I'm like, I would get a tattoo of K2SO. A heartbeat.
In this show, it mentions that, Luthen mentions it's been a year. It's been a year since, I'm assuming, the Aldani heist. Or it's been a year since he's met with that one guy.
It's been a year since he's met with that guy.
But when did he meet that guy? Because Cassian has been in that prison for a while, though, right?
Yeah, I think they said the last time they did, it was like 30 shifts. So it's been I would say it's probably been a couple months. It's been maybe 2 months.
2 months? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't really care.
I don't think they make it clear, at least. It's never really presented how many days or anything like that. And there's no real showing of like passing time, you know? Because I feel like you'd be able to tell if like, you know, he has like more of like a beard or something like that. But I feel like there's no real like physical change you can see.
Yeah. This show.
It's such a good show too. Like when people were like, "Oh, it's a good Star Wars show," it's like it's just a good show.
It is a good show. like
it's a good television. Like it's a good show. Star Wars.
It's interesting to see it. Like it's like trend. It was like trending on Twitter. So many people were talking it, and people are like really saying like my favorite, like top like so and so shows of the year is like House of Dragon and like Andor. Like putting it on that type of scale, it's crazy. Because then it just kind of breaks out of its little like Star Wars box to now just in general, it's a great show. People were saying like nominated for Emmys, stuff like that. And I think that's really, really cool to see.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's the thing with what's called genre TV is that like genre TV, genre movies don't get respect. That's just a classic thing. Like movies, like science fiction movies, fantasy movies, movies that are too much of like an unbelievable thing or whatever, they don't get respect. They're just considered like they're that kind of corner of the movie and TV sphere, and they don't like get Emmys, they don't get like Academy Awards. Superhero movies don't get that.
It's always like maybe we'll give them sound design or like an
visual
effect. Yeah.
Or like costumes. I think Suicide Squad won in costumes, the first one.
Yeah, they did. I do remember that.
It's like, okay, fine. Aries out there says K2SO is supposed to appear in the series, right? Yeah. Yes. I assume season 2.
He will be in season 2 because Alan like was already signed on, and for some reason I remember like last minute seeing something that like he's pretty much pushed to season 2 because season 2 will take place over a span of like 5 years, I believe. 4 years, and then it'll lead right up to the events of Rogue One.
Yeah, because we've already seen the other, I'm assuming K2 something or another's, like on the beach, on that one planet.
Yeah, when I was like, oh, it's K2. Oh, no. No, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were like, yay, and then we're like, oh.
Yeah, that was immediately scary.
Just kidding. Yeah, they're scary when they are not like funny like he is.
Yeah. Mr. Plow says, sorry. Mr. Plow says, I love the meme about Tony Gilroy not making nostalgia action figure mashed together. What? Sorry, Mr. Plow, I'm not understanding what you're writing. Instead, a call to stop fascism. I mean, okay, so like, big theme of this show is really getting down in the nitty gritty of like, what's this fascist regime, which is the Empire. It isn't good versus bad like we all like see Star Wars the original trilogy as, is like good versus evil, but like it's about like how there are competent people doing bad things. Like when I was a kid, my mom used to be like, yeah, if you're an evil person, you're not smart, like because to do the right thing would be a smart thing, but like it's a simplistic thing that you would tell a kid, right? But it's not the way in real life. There are smart people on both sides, every set of the way, right? So there are smart people in the Empire, people that you like, Daedra Miro, who you want to root for if she was not working for the Empire.
Yeah, they trick you into rooting for her because she's a woman in a male-dominated field who's technically right about the things, but nobody's taking her seriously. So then they trick you into being like, oh, I mean, I know I shouldn't be rooting for her, but technically, I mean, she's right. And then she gets scary and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a reverse with Luthen, where like the more you learn about Luthen,
the more gray he becomes.
Yeah, the more, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, we'll go over Luthen, but the prison break, what was Cassian's plan to flood the floor so it short circuits? Why was he cutting that pipe? I thought the pipe was like a hydraulic pipe, and so thus would impede the hydraulic system, but that's not the case either.
Yep, I've got in my notes, what is Cassian doing with the pipe? I thought he was just taking it for a weapon, but then, yeah, it looks like there was something, I think it short-circuited. I remember watching it and being like, I should rewind that, and then being like, oh, it's too late.
Yeah, I thought it was for distraction. Like, because obviously when that happened, it triggered the alarm system. They went to go check it out, and then they got to start their attack. I thought it was something as simple as that, but it could have been.
It wasn't like a distraction thing, because there was a point like where they're like
the fight
turning on. Yeah. They were like, "We're gonna turn on the floor," and then Kino is like, "Everyone get on the tables."
Yes.
And then we think there was one guy who's still on the floor, and he doesn't die.
One guy gets fried, and then Kino's feet are on the floor, but he doesn't get fried.
Oh,
yeah.
Which I mean, maybe I'm a dumb English major, but I thought that water and electricity together made electricity worse.
Yes, it does. But if you have one source of electricity, like it'll spread. So one source would spread through the water. But if you have all these sources and receptors, if you drop your phone in water, it doesn't make your phone more powerful, right?
Good point.
Right. your phone gets supercharged and you drop it in the sink.
But if you drop like a plugged in toaster in the water, it'll electrocute you.
Because it's one source of electricity.
Got it.
But there's all these little parts that create different charges and different things. You're gonna mess up everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe you.
That's the way I see it. But but sounds yeah, good. So I guess that's for the thing. And then is that what happens in the beginning, or no? What happens in the beginning is they come back from the death of Olaf, right? Olaf?
Yep.
Yeah. And it starts with them wheeling him through like the floor where people are dying, which was very grim.
Yeah.
Very grim. And then they're all back in the barracks, and that's when Kino tells everyone what happened on level 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we cut to the ISB, where whatever's going on with the ship that had the pilot in it with Anto Krieger, who I don't know if it was that I was just so captivated by the prison break plot that I wasn't really paying attention, or it was just like a little crumb of information. but they're going to investigate it because that's what it looks like they should
ISB?
do. But it was the undercover guy that gave that suggestion. Yeah, I'm not 100% on what's happening there.
So they decided to go through with Daedra's plan where they killed the pilot, set the pilot on the ship, and then they found the ship. And the question is, do we keep following this lead? Like, do we press, like, aggression because that's what we would normally do, or do we stand back? I think that was what they were arguing.
Okay.
Like, do we aggressively kind of, I don't know. It was like that. Be aggressive or don't be aggressive. It's kind of what they were kind of arguing about. That's the only time we really see Daedra Miro, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so it's
then we go to Ferrex for 20 seconds.
I must have like blinked and missed because I don't remember a damn thing about that.
And then we go to Mon Mothma. Then it's the Mon Mothma scene.
Yep.
Is that with Bix? Was Bix in that scene?
Didn't even feature Bix at all.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, and Davo? I'm confused because there's a guy named Davos in Game of Thrones who I'm very confused with, who's also like a thief. So he's like a gangster guy. Yeah, Davo. Who looks like the scummiest person I've like, just real stereotypical. Like the trench coats, the fancy trench coat thing. The hair, he just looks like a kind of a
Davos Skulden.
Davos Skulden.
I would love to create names for Star Wars.
They have so much fun doing that.
Like the names Plixbo Clarno.
But then we got Lonnie.
Yeah, every so often they'll be like the name Stu Blickblork. It's like, okay,
and I'm a chef. I make soups.
Right.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, if they give them like an Earth name, then they like throw in the most random last name. Yeah.
I'll have to go find what Lonnie's last name is now.
It'll be like the name's Bryce Plazaneus. And it's like, what? Bryce Plazaneus.
I like how there's always the laughter about how weird Star Wars names are, but the main protagonist's name is Luke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mon Mothma in this scene does such a good job of playing like, I hate this man. Like, and she's not even, the way she's not trying to hide it at all.
Yeah.
Just delightful to me.
As soon as that offer he put on the table too, she was like, get out of my house. Like, we're done.
Her face, it was so good.
But the best was when Davos said, he was like, that's the first lie you've said. Like, she is thinking about it.
Yeah. And now it kind of, it's that thing that clicks of like, oh, that's why they keep bringing up the daughter. That's why the daughter keeps popping into scenes. Because you have to know that she has this tenuous relationship with her daughter, that it's not like she could casually be like, hey, you just got to meet this kid. You don't have to, but she doesn't have that kind of rapport with her daughter. So like, there's no way it's going to go well.
I also saw it as like, if she told her daughter, don't get involved with this boy, the daughter's like, I'm going to get involved with this boy.
Oh, she would. Oh my God. That's definitely her.
I'm like, yeah, I don't know. The guy's so skeezy. Like, Davo?
Yeah, didn't like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that whole, like, that's the way they do it on her home planet thing, like the arranged marriage. Because part of it is she was in the arranged marriage with Perrin, who sucks. So why would she want to do that to her daughter?
Because her daughter sucks. Her daughter's the worst. Perrin and her daughter.
And like every time she's in the scene, I'm like, oh, she's just so insufferable.
Yeah.
Poor Mon Mothma, like free her.
That being said, I do understand like Mon Mothma's not there for her kid, but Mon Mothma has a job to do. So I don't like, I can understand their viewpoint, which is like, you're not ever around. You're acting like you care now, but you're never around. Like,
and, to come to the defense of insufferable 14-year-olds as a high school teacher, they won't be like, a lot of them are insufferable. I was very insufferable. I turned out to be a an okay human. So the whole idea of there's a lot going on. You know, she thinks her mom sucks. She's on, you know, dad's team. But the idea that she's contemplating maybe putting an arranged marriage together for her 14-year-old, pretty gross. Don't like it. You can see how hard she is taking that, like how she's grappling with it, and that she hates herself for the fact that she's thinking about it.
Yeah.
Poor Mon.
Yeah. Derpy 501st on YouTube says, "Hey, what's up to Derpy?" Aries 13 says, "An okay human." Who is an okay human?
Me. That's what I just said. I was a bad 14-year-old, but I'm an okay, grown human.
Yeah. Yeah. It was an interesting scene. Not much happened in that scene because it's just one scene, but still a solid scene to kind of push us forward. But with the prison break, they short circuit the thing. The new prisoner, like, you could see them, like, there's not enough guards for everybody. Cassian knows it. He's trying to tell Kino, you have to do it today or tomorrow or whatever, right? We have to do it. This is the only time we'll be able to do it. And Kino is so, like, hesitant. Like, what, Cassiana, what do you think was going on in Kino's head? Because
I was really wondering about that, because it was just like, I think like a lot of scenes you just like, I feel like we don't know how long, I don't remember if they said specifically how long he has been in the prison. But he was a leader in that prison. So I think almost like he was just too far into the system, that he just feels like he is truly betraying something that for possibly years and years he has been forced to believe, and not only believe, but then force upon other people. Like, you need to do this work. This is how we need to do it on program, like all that sort of stuff. So I feel like he was betraying a piece of himself that he's had to he had adopted so long ago. And I feel like that was like his big obstacle to like overcome.
Yeah. I keep thinking about it because I didn't get to rewatch the episode. Did he know he wasn't going to make it out?
I think so.
You think from the get-go he was just like...
Yeah, I think he knew the only way out. So for me, the one way out refrain, I've been thinking about this all day, is there's one way out. You're either going to die in here or we're going to break out. And he has to know that it's water. He has to know the plan is to swim to land. He has to know they're not like, because if the plan was to hijack a spaceship, like that would have been included. So that's on a rewatch to me, was like, he gave the speech. He did all this stuff. He said, you know, don't die until you put up a fight. All this stuff, knowing he wasn't going to make it out. And I think if that's how you read it, and that's how I read it, it makes it even more intense. Because then his fear, I mean, for me, he's conflicted because he's been however long, like Cassiano, like you said, he spent all this time in the prison having faith and hope that if we just do it, if I do what I'm doing, I'm going to get out. And it's been what, like 24 hours since he found out that everything he's been doing has been for nothing because he's not getting out and nobody's getting out. Like, talk about Cassian getting radicalized over the course of the season. He had to get radicalized in like 12 hours, you know, to go from just toe the line and you'll get out when you get out to we have to do it today. Like, that's intense. And the fact that he does it knowing that he can't swim. Dear Lord, it's so good. It's so good. I mean, and I think that I think you can read it either way. I think you can say he might have thought he had a chance, but I don't think so. I would like to hear. I want someone to interview Andy Serkis and ask him that, because I want to know if he was playing it as he knows that the only way out is through water and he can't swim. But I don't know. That's how I read it, but I think you could do it either way.
I've told you this before, Sarah. Cassiana, I don't think I have. But I there are moments in movies and TV shows and stories that are like right before a character is gonna die, and like what they do in those moments that like matter a lot to me. Like, it hurts me on a very deep level. So like at the end of Armageddon, where Bruce Willis dies, like it's been 30 years.
I haven't
since
seen it yet.
out.
It's been on my to watch list.
Is it really?
No.
Okay. Have you not watched it?
I haven't seen it, but I have no interest in watching it.
It's a fun, sad kind of movie.
I know the song. I know the song.
Yeah, but like Bruce Willis decides to stay back and blow up the asteroid himself, even though he has a daughter on Earth, but he does it for his daughter, and then he like, in his eye, he like flash forwards and sees her wedding that he will never be there for. He, sees the kid he raised, and then he like dies. And he pulls the trigger or whatever. And like that kills me every time. Armageddon. In Infinity War, where Peter Parker dies, it doesn't matter whether we know that, like, of course Spider-Man's not going to actually die. He thinks he's going to die. He is dying. He comes back later, but like, it's what you do in those moments, right?
Yeah.
So Kino, the whole Kino thing, I can't swim. Like it hurts. That hurts.
For me, it's the Rogue One of it all. I mean, that idea of
Rogue One also, that
knowing you're not getting out, but you're gonna fight like hell anyway. And there was a moment where Kino, this is why, okay, hold on, I just got it because it was my note and I crossed it out. This is why I think that Kino knew from the beginning, is he volunteers to stay behind to hold the level. He's like, someone has to stay behind to hold the level. And then Cassian's like, nope, come on, you got to come with us. Because I wrote on my notes, is he staying behind? And then he ran with them. And I was like, okay. He was going to stay behind to be like, I want to make sure that they don't follow you or whatever. So I thought that was the sacrifice play he was doing.
Oh.
Because he wasn't going to follow them all the way to wherever they were going. And then Cassian was like, nope, you got to come with me.
Yeah.
So I think that was him trying to do that.
I think such a heartbreaking part of it too was like not even just like the I can't swim, but it was just like Kino staying behind and Cassian getting swept up with everybody else, and that'll probably be the last moment that he'll ever see him. And it's like he couldn't even help it. He had to go along with everybody else. He was completely taken away from like this moment he was having with Kino that maybe he could have come up with a solution. But it was just too late. Like, I thought that was heartbreaking too. Like the look on like Cassian's face, like Diego Luna's acting in that moment too. You could just see true sadness. And it was just so heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's always like thinking too, things like Spider-Man in Infinity War, like a line like, I don't want to go. It's, is that what he said? What did he say? No, that's Doctor Who.
No, is that what he does say? Like, I don't want to go. Help me,
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I mean, and for like sad lines that are sad are good, right? But to have something be as heartbreaking as I can't swim,
one thing,
and be like, who would have thought that
in the whole plan, like every step of the way, things work out.
Mm-hmm. And then to have it coupled with ending the episode last week on the most unexpectedly badass line of all Star Wars, never more than 12, to then come in with the most unexpectedly heartbreaking line of all Star Wars, I can't swim, like, is beautiful, is incredible. Mm-hmm. Good Lord, these writers sure can write.
It's like if you say both of those lines to like people that are actively like watching Andor and like very, very caught up in it, it's like you can feel the emotions coming back. I remember the Never More Than 12 Men. I like tweeted it out. I was like, guys, I got chills. I am so excited. And now you say I can't swim to people. Like they'll feel that sadness. I feel like they have such an effect on the watchers. Like they're doing such a great job.
One of my mutuals on TikTok, Kit posted a video about it to like the edit of Bing Bong from Inside Out, being like, you guys made it, take her to the moon for me, and with Kino saying I can't swim. And I was like, I will never forgive you for this connection.
No.
Like there will always be a place in my heart full of hatred for the fact that you just made this exist in the world. And now you guys have to think about it too.
I forgot about Bing Bong. Bing Bong hurts.
Yeah, it's definitely a Bing Bong moment.
Another example is that, like, I used to have a friend. We're not friends anymore. And not because of this, but whatever. He had seen Toy Story 3 before me. Like, I saw it opening night, but I think he saw it an early screening or whatever. And he was like, the movie ends with the characters go into like a furnace. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. Why would that happen? And he's like, just wait and see. Like, that's where Toy Story 3 ends. And that's how they end the whole thing. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, how do they end up in the furnace? That wouldn't, like, happen. Like, that's ridiculous. I'm watching the movie. They end up on the conveyor belt towards that furnace. I'm crying because I'm like, this is correct. Like, you're right. Like, I didn't think this was going to happen, but, like, this is where it ends. And the characters hold hands. And the toys embrace that their death is coming, and they embrace it together. And I'm like, I'll cry today for it. Like, I cried then, I'll cry today for it. But the fact that, like, those toys know they're gonna die in that moment, and then they don't, right? And I'm thinking to myself, how are they gonna get saved? It doesn't make, like, and then they get saved, but, like, that kills me.
Tiny alien Deus Ex Machina
with the claw. It was the claw. I thought it worked, but that kills me.
Dimithri, you know that I have previously welled up in tears talking about the first time that Luthen and Cassian met, and it was like, this is it. This is like the birth of the rebellion.
Yeah.
For me, this was very much like that. I very much got a lot of goosebumps thinking about, like, the Ewokness of it all, you know, like this idea of the Empire is big and scary. They've got this big and scary prison where everything is scary, genuinely terrifying. But we have more people, and we've got pipes, and we've got the tools of the things that we were building for you, and we're gonna overpower you. And that was like, I was like crying. I was like, this is the rebellion. This is yeah, you have nothing to lose. And you know, they've got blasters and you've got pipes, but there's 5,000 of you with pipes, you know, this idea that it's the hope or it's the desperation or it's whatever it is, that this small power is going to overtake the fucking Death Star, you know, like this incredible, like insurmountable amount of power is going to be beaten by the little guys that just have the determination and have the will and the, you know, bravery. And that was like beautiful to me.
In the beginning, a lot of the characters die. Like in that beginning rush, to the point where it's like all of them are dying. At that point, do you just say, I'm sorry, I give up? You know what I mean? Like almost all of them, like in the beginning, they start dropping like crazy because they're at a huge disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But the one guy who it's his first day, like not even his first day, right? It's like first minute in that room, he's like, fuck these guys. And then he dies, but like he takes that taser, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then they just have to pop their head ins and be like, come on, we're doing it. And everyone's
I always loved that. It was just shoot the hole and just like, what are you guys waiting for? Come on. And they would all just follow along.
Yeah. Yeah, but like before they get the upper hand though, they're at a huge disadvantage with just two guys up on the rafters with a blaster. And they kill a lot of the characters that had speaking lines in those two previous episodes.
Just like that whole idea of just like a small group of people that don't have blasters, and just have like the bravery and determination. I mean, that is just such a great parallel with Rogue One on its own. They're like, we don't know what to expect. They don't know we're coming, but somehow we got onto this planet Scarif, and they made a difference. I mean, they got the Death Star plans, and it was just this group of just rebels just sneaking around the island, blowing stuff up. You have 3 people that snuck in literally to like the data center. Like that's just such a good parallel between the two of just like how, you know, you don't have to have the best weapons. It's not like a big military or anything, but you still win. They still somehow win.
And in Rogue One, the ships that are up in the upper orbit, like Admiral Raddus or General Raddus, and like when they do that like knife maneuver.
Oh, so cool.
That was so good. Oh.
This is what Star Wars is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Star Wars, and you know, I've never made it a secret. Like
I like the Star Wars too.
I like the Star Wars. It's not a secret. No, I like the Star Wars where it's not where anyone can be a hero. Not you have to be the son of Anakin to be a hero. You have to be related to the Emperor to be powerful. Power comes in different ways, and you don't like the fact that you have to be blood related to be a main character of the Star Wars movies is the biggest flaw of any of the trilogies. And that's the story they want to tell, but it's almost fairy tale like, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I wanted Rey to be a nobody.
Me too.
Because why does she need to be somebody to be somebody? Being somebody is like her choices, her power, her like you know what she does. That's up to her. It's not about like the fact that she's the granddaughter of the Emperor.
Yeah, and you can't do the Spider-Man, you know, Spider-Verse, everyone can wear the mask thing if you have to be related to a Skywalker to have the Force, you know?
Right.
Like it kind of ruins that part.
It reminds me, and this is something that I've I've always thought about. Like when I was a kid, I was like, what would a Star Wars sequel be? And it's like, well, what if Luke had a son, but then Luke became the second Vader, and his son had to fight him? But that's just the same story, which is kind of what the new trilogy was.
Mm-hmm.
And it just reminds me of like there was old Batman comics where like Batman had a son named Batman Jr. and the Joker had a son named Joker Jr. It was like a dream sequence like story that Alfred wrote. It was like weird. But it was like, what's the future of Bruce Wayne? Well, he gets happily married and his son becomes Batman Jr. and Joker has a son named Joker Jr. and those two fight. And it's like
Muppet Babies.
In a way. But Muppet Babies are Muppet Babies.
Muppet Babies are them as babies. Yeah. Mr. Plus just said that in the chat. That Muppet Babies. Except the Muppet Babies did it right.
Muppet Babies were the Muppets when they were babies.
Yes. Or in an alternate universe when they're babies. I don't know how the timeline. I need to get my Muppet lore
into the
straight.
Muppetverse.
Also, the guards hiding as they're all running by, fantastic. This idea that like these guys are also not like true believers in the cause. They just work there. You know, that they're like, they see it happening and they're like, okay, I'm not dying for this today.
Yeah.
Type thing. And they're like literally doing the thing where they're like crouched down and they're like, they don't see us, just keep. It's like,
you know what that reminded me of?
I know what it reminded me of, but it's going to be too dark to say.
It's probably the same thing.
Oh.
Yeah. But like, it makes me feel bad for them. But then I realize, oh shit, they're the bad guys. But also, what we learn in this show is like, it's these like shades of gray and how like agreeing to a bad system makes you bad even if you're okay. Even if you're not bad. If you're, benefiting off of a corrupt fascist system, you're the bad guy then.
The parallels, the Rogue One parallels. So the fact that Kino has to start off his speech by repeating Cassian's words back because he doesn't know what to say, and the fact that Cassian is telling him, it has to be you. You have to be the one to say it. So Kino has to be the messenger, but the message is Cassian's, which is exactly what happens in Rogue One when he tells Jyn that rebellions are built on hope, and then that becomes her thing that she calls to action. Where it's like Cassian is like, he's the heart of it, right? So he's like behind the scenes. He, is the, more quiet one, but he's got the manifesto, he's the Nemec now, essentially. Like, he's got the passion and the ideas, but he knows also that maybe he's not always the right messenger for it. They need to hear it from Kino because Kino has the authority.
Yeah.
But the message is from Cassian. And then eventually, he finds it, when he starts talking, and it was amazing. It was an all-time speech. I thought it was the best speech of the episode, but then I was proven wrong a few moments later.
Yeah.
But truly, like, an incredible performance and just a fantastic speech. And the way he's so hyped up at the end that he's like chanting as he's running out. Oh,
I don't think Cassian's pro rebellion yet. I think this prison break will lead us towards this thing, but it is kind of an isolated incident. You know what I mean? Like, he's not doing the manifesto that Nemec gave him.
No. I mean, he's like the driving force, kind of.
A lot of those ideals are coming through in whatever Cassian gets himself into, because these oppressive systems manifest themselves in different ways regardless. So, like, he's developing a philosophy against oppressive systems.
And watching him run off with Melshi at the end was delightful.
I'm so excited to see what happens next with that. That was just so funny. It's like, oh, they're running away together. Like,
every single scene that deepens the connection between Melshi and Cassian feeds my soul so much, because I know that, like,
they're both
it's like, die. Oh, okay, that's why Melshi, that's why he volunteered to go to Scarif. Because the last time Cassian told him, led them into something, it was the right thing to do. Oh,
I hope the final episode of this show gives us lost scenes of Rogue One to make Rogue One better, because I don't buy Melshi and Cassian's friendship. Like, in Rogue One. He's just there. But if we saw a scene maybe in the final episode or two of, like, them gearing up for Scarif and explaining a little bit of things to add a little bit more depth to it, like, I'd be all for that.
I mean, I think Melshi's gonna, I don't know if he's gonna be, in every episode that Andor is gonna be in. Right. But I feel like that friendship is definitely good. I would like it if that was a through line, if they kind of stuck together, or at least, somewhat stuck together, because we know by the time Rogue One rolls around that they're genuinely very close.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like that's a real trauma bond is breaking out of a horrifying prison together. So.
Yeah. Aries says, like the comic trope where the new hero ends up being a clone child of the prior hero. Are you talking about Batman Beyond? Because that's what they did in Batman Beyond. Did you guys ever watch Batman Beyond?
I loved Batman Beyond.
Cassiana?
I can't say I have watched it, no.
I'm gonna write down a whole list of things you gotta watch. Batman Beyond.
Please send it my way.
Batman Beyond, like, top of the list. So, like, in the whole series, it's just Bruce Wayne trained a new kid, Terry McGinnis, to be Batman in the future. And then in one of the episodes of Justice League Unlimited, the episode's called Epilogue, and you go even further into, like, a couple years further from the end of Batman Beyond to show us that, like, Terry was he's not a clone of Bruce Wayne, but he is essentially Bruce Wayne's biological son through, like, cloning in a way. And it was unnecessary. Terry
also
is good at what he does. Just by being good at what he does, he doesn't need to be literal Batman's child.
It was also on TV at a very formative time in my life, so I'm always like, yeah, he was the hot Batman. He was real cute. He was, like, a little bit younger. It was a real sleek bat suit.
He was a high school Batman.
He was a high schooler, yeah.
But he was built like he was in college. Like,
it was that and gargoyles.
Yeah. I remember the girls in Batman Beyond. That was formative times for me.
I do as well.
Anyway,
old person corner talking about the cartoons that awakened.
Back in my Betty Page, we put Betty Page on the side of our World War II planes.
Back in my day, the gargoyles were so attractive.
I mean,
love that show.
The gargoyles were attractive, like Demona, Angela. Anyway, that's whatever. Anyway,
I'm looking this up after we're done.
Oh, you have to look up gargoyles. It was
we will. There's a lot to look up. Let's before we close the episode, I want to talk about Luthen. The final scene. It's really the only scene that we see of Luthen. We see him in his museum or art antique store or whatever it is, and he's like, the railing is gone and it's meant to be a message, right, that he wants to meet, right? And we're like, who is he talking about? And then he's talking about this guy who, we just met him this episode?
I think so. I think he's been lurking around.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we're like, okay, what's going on? And and I'm like, who's setting a trap for who? Like, I was like, one of these, is this guy setting a trap for him?
I love it might be a trap, and they're like, if it's a trap, we already lost. Like, if they know enough to set a trap for us, then it's lost anyway, so I might as well meet him. I was like, Luthen, you devious, magnificent bastard. I love him so much.
Luthen is cutthroat, though. Like, Saw Gerrera is out of his mind radical, but Luthen is like privileged radical. Like, Saw's living in a cave and Luthen's living on Coruscant, and they're both equally radical. People will die, except that people will die. Like,
Luthen's like, I will just sacrifice Krieger and all his people. Well, it's 50 people. People are gonna die. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. I was like, that's intense. That's an intense thing. We're getting morally grayer by the minute.
Right.
And he's got his cloak like billowing in the wind. Like, everything about that scene. He looks great. He sounds great.
He looked evil. Like, it looked kind of like a Vader moment, like where a bad guy's on the catwalk.
Yeah, catwalk's historically not a great place to meet a billowing cloaked figure.
I thought he was gonna kill that guy. I thought he was gonna like cut the cord to the elevator, and the elevator was gonna drop.
It was a very like intense scene where I was just like, somebody's gonna get shot in this scene. Is there like, what's gonna happen?
But instead, the scene was about, I can't lose you, so like, nut up, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, that guy had the audacity to be like, what are you sacrificing, Luthen? And I was like, oh no. Just like immediately regret asking that question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Ares wrote the monologue.
Yeah.
Over there. But on Reddit, we got the monologue. Is it the same one that Ares wrote?
I think so. And also, I weirdly want the monologue to become one of those like copy pasta things where people put the emojis in it.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, where they do like these long comments where they have an emoji where it's like calm, and then it would be like the meditating emoji.
Mm-hmm.
Kindness, kinship, love, and the little heart emoji. I've given everything.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Like, exactly what you're talking about.
Right now,
like Halloween.
Hold on. Well, no, I mean, I can't. There's no way to show it to you.
Yeah, you just show it to me later. But
yeah.
But like there's some like, I've made my mind a sunless place. I share my dreams with ghosts.
I was like, damn, okay, bars. Like,
what? What? Like, that monologue, Kino's monologue. Oh.
I'm a big fan of I burned my decency for someone else's future. I burned my life to make a sunrise that I will never see.
The sunrise I will never see thing.
That's a good one.
Beautiful.
It's so sad. Because, like, progress and change is done in generations. And that sucks. in real life,
people like
in this
posting. I was gonna say people were posting that like monologue, and like it was like the sunset on the beach of like Rogue One, and it was like the twin suns where Luke was like looking over like in A New Hope, and I thought that was really interesting. A lot of people were like making comparisons between the two of how they kind of connect.
Yeah. Did it talk it's just, yeah, the steps in the rebellion, like, we remember the big ones. Remember Skywalker, right? But like everybody who died in Rogue One, like in Rogue One, running away from Vader to get that, like, the data, they all served a purpose, right? They all, like, without any one of them, it would have been lost. And I think it's important. Like, that's Star Wars to me.
Yeah.
Is those moments. Because everybody wants to be Luke. Everybody wants to be Luke firing the proton torpedo into the exhaust port. Everybody wants to be that one cowboy. But that's not the case.
Look at all the people that helped him get to that moment. All the people from the past that created that story for that moment to happen in that movie.
Right. It's like the one guy who makes the game-winning shot, you know? But it's like, it's game-winning shot because you had more shots earlier that you took that led you up until this point. You know? Andor makes me sad, but it's like a good sad, but it's also kind of just sad.
It's such a deep piece. Like, it's such a deep show, and it's so interesting to like look into it. Because honestly, at like the end of the day, it's like a form of art. It really is. All of the different layers of stories, how they connect to everything, the characters themselves. They just did a really good job with it.
Yeah. Cassiana, where do you think we're going in the next 2 episodes?
I have no idea, to be honest. Like, I saw like him and Melshi running off the way, and I was like, okay, there we go. Like, I don't know. Like, how are they gonna meet? Who are they gonna meet back up with? Where is their, like, what's their exit strategy? Where are they going to? I don't even have an idea.
I don't even know what planet they're on.
Yeah, exactly. And then did they ever say?
Is the planet Narkina 5?
I don't know.
Might be.
Or is it the
name of the prison?
Yeah.
Not 100% sure.
Narkina 5 is a small water moon. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, I think they're on Narkina 5. Yeah. So how they're gonna get off Narkina 5, I don't know. I'm assuming the final 2 episodes will be them getting off planet.
Yeah, because the way that they described that, you know, when I said people were saying that it was going to be a 3-episode arc and then like a 2-part finale, that's what I feel like is going to happen. Like, that's the end of this arc, and then it's going to be a 2-part finale.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
That's literally just random people were saying that on the internet, and I was like, that seems like what's happening.
Yeah. I think it'll be their struggle to get off planet, and then they'll meet up with, I don't know, Mon Mothma or Luthen again.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, is who's gonna be the first people they see off planet? Who's gonna be like their saviors, kind of like?
It has to be Luthen, right? Because Andor might know Luthen's number because he gave him a call that one time. But they shut that down. No, they shut that down.
Could be Saw Gerrera.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not good. Because Saw's just gonna be like, let's throw a squid at him. See what happens.
Not the squid.
Oh, the squid. It's just so good. And I feel like I'm being annoying about it, about how good it is, right? Like,
I'm trying to tell everybody I can.
Please. Like all the things I've seen on TikTok that are like, all right, enough is enough, guys. You have to start watching Andor now. Like, I get it. You've been putting it off. The time is past. The time is now. Please start watching this show. And I'm like,
my favorite is people, because I just made so many TikToks about it in the beginning. I was like, everybody needs to watch this. This is why, this is what's going to happen in the show. And to see the people coming back to me being like, hey, I've actually started watching it, and this is some of the best Star Wars I've seen. Like, thank you for that. Or even like people that come to me at like my work that I work with, and they're like, hey, I've seen those Andor episodes. And I'm like, and they're just like, they're actually really, really good. I was shocked. And it's just kind of cool to see. Just everybody seems to be just taken aback by this series.
Yeah, I didn't know I wanted it. Honestly, like, I was just like, whatever. Like, what do I care? What do I care about an Andor prequel? Like,
I feel like I'm bewildered by people that are like, I don't care enough about the character. And it's like, right, but the show's going to make you care about the character. That's what shows do.
Yeah.
But it's like,
but that's the problem,
I can't,
though. That's
but it's also like, I can't,
a prequel.
I can't believe someone watched Rogue One and was like, I'm not captivated by this character and actor at all. Like,
I mean, he was cool, but like,
I
was whatever about him. Like, yeah. I liked him in Rogue One, but like, that's the thing. We think about prequels being like, who is our favorite character? Let's see a prequel of that character. But then that's also a problem with sequels, right? Or spin-offs. Let's take, like, out of all the Friends characters, let's take Joey, because Joey was like the most popular, and give him his own show, but it didn't work because Joey isn't a good lead. Like, he's not the lead, he's the comedic support, and it kind of all gels together. Monica and Chandler should have been the ones with the spinoff, because you can tell the most stories and expand the most. In my opinion.
I feel like the reason it works so well with Cassian Andor is because he is support in Rogue One. I mean, Rogue One is more Jin's story than anything else. So he's in a more of a supporting role in that. And then he's also, I mean, it's his story, but he's still, it's not like 90% of the time we're with Cassian. So the idea that the world is developing, the rebellion is developing, the empire is developing, and Cassian is there for it and an integral part of it. He's still not, it's not like, let's take this side character and make them the main character. Obviously he's the main character, but it's not like they're still, you know, like he was such good support in this episode. And I feel like it's easy to overlook Diego Luna's performance in this episode, but he was damn good in this episode. I mean, he is in every episode, but.
I think that where Obi-Wan fails, where this succeeds, is the choice of Obi-Wan as a prequel. Like, just because you like the character doesn't mean like it's gonna tell the best story.
And that's the thing too, is I feel like why Andor succeeds so well is like, yes, it wasn't everybody's top choice as a character to get a show, but it's a top choice for a story. It's because he really was at the base of the rebellion, and that is such a good story to be told in the Star Wars universe that necessarily hasn't been in-depthly like examined yet. So it's not even like, if you don't like the character, you don't have to like the character. But check out all of these other stories that are going on around him that some don't even involve him, but some of them really, really do. But it's just, you don't have to watch it for the character, you watch it for the story. And this is a perfect show to do that for.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Rebels in that way. I love Rebels so much, but it's that kind of idea that the stories are good and the characters endear themselves to you through the stories that are being told. So you don't have to immediately have a buy-in of like, oh yeah, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's, you know, it's Anakin Skywalker. He's going to be Darth Vader. We get to know the characters along the way because the stories that they're telling are good. And the characters are compelling. So you don't have to feel like I'm really itching to know the origin of Cassian Andor to, you know, because when you start watching Breaking Bad, you're not like, you know what I already know this show is about and want to see? A chemistry teacher who starts selling meth and becomes a drug lord. Like, you don't know where the, you know, and, you know, you didn't know that you wanted that story until that story came along. So you might not have known that you wanted to hear about Cassian's role in the birth of the rebellion until the story came along and it was great.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Yeah. I'm excited for what's to come. I want to thank both of you so much for coming on the show and taking time out of your night to be here. Before we get going, I want to thank everybody out there for watching. We had Mr. Plow out there. We had Aries 13 out there. Somebody popped in for a couple of things. First timer somewhere here. Forget. Maybe it disappeared. Anyway, Derpy 501st over on YouTube. Green Paper said hello earlier on Twitch. Thank you to everybody out there. If you're watching us, twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show, or you're listening to us on our podcast, which is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio. We're all over the place, but however you digest us, thank you for digesting us. Before we get going, Sarah, where can we find you online? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Ms_Marauder. Winter con season is happening, so lots of cosplay shenanigans happening. So if you like specifically My Hero Academia cosplays and Spy Family cosplays, that's what we got coming up with my adorable child. So
all right. And Cassiana, thank you so much for coming on this show. When are you gonna get like a shirt that says it's just Cassian but with an A, and then like you in like a rebel pose, like doing your thing?
I have no idea. I have my one.
I was
shirt.
gonna say your shirt is so good.
You should take that shirt and like, do it but with you.
I gotta do some graphic design, figure out some printing. I need some more Cassian merch and figure out how to get my name in there.
Yeah.
My friend made a Spirit jersey, an Andor Spirit jersey, like they sell at Disneyland, with the logo and then the Andor in the font on the back with her cricket.
I want that.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I wanna create a rebel cosplay that's kind of like cool smuggler kind of, rebel kind of thing, but like like original character kind of thing. But we'll see how that works.
Do it. Let me know your measurements. I'll sew something for you.
Ooh. Okay. Cassiana, where can we find you online? What do you got coming up? You got anything to plug?
Absolutely. Well, first off, thank you for having me. Love being able to talk with you guys about Andor. I'm always so excited to talk about it. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Cassiana Pozzi, which is just my full name. TikTok is CassianX always. Coming up right after Thanksgiving, that weekend is San Fran Fan Expo. So I will be there entire weekend cosplaying. So cosplay content coming to Instagram, and I will be at the con. So that's pretty much what I got coming up. So
awesome. You do great work, and so I'm really happy to have like talked to you on Instagram Live when we did our Instagram Live chat, and then getting you on this. It's been awesome. So thank you so much for doing this, especially because you're 2 hours ahead of us. So I know it's even later than it is now.
Totally okay. Just happy to be here talking with you guys. It's so much fun. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Thank you everybody out there. If you want to give back to the show, you can go on patreon.com/The Keeg Show. But pretty much TikTok and Instagram at The Keeg Show. Those are our two main ones, TikTok and Instagram. We do multiple different shows a week. So we got the Andor Aftershow every Wednesday night. We only have 2 episodes left, episodes 11 and 12. We got Comic Talk every Thursdays where we talk about that week's new comic releases. We also got the Keeg Talks on weekends. It's pretty much every weekend from now on. We got Black Panther coming out, so we're going to do the Black Panther Wakanda Forever podcast episode. So definitely stay tuned for that. And we do Instagram live chats every Monday night with different content creators and cosplayers and whatnot. So we got a lot on our schedule, but follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Keeg Show to stay up to date with everything. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Thank you again to Sarah and Cassiana for doing this. Once again, I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and this has been another episode of the Andor After Show. This time, episode 10. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.